Good morning, Desert Sands Educational Foundation community, and good morning, Desert Sands community. This is Sean Webb, your Director of the Foundation and Community Engagement for Desert Sands Unified School District. It is Thursday morning at 9 o'clock, and it's obviously morning coffee with Chef Mary. Chef Mary, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm in San Diego. It's nice and cool this morning. We're celebrating Dana's birthday and for like a bunch of days. I think she started yesterday. This morning, one of her friends gave her a wine cooler as a Christmas gift. I mean, a birthday gift. It holds how many bottles of wine?
34.
34 bottles of wine. And then Steve got a belated Father's Day gift that holds 45 bottles of wine.
You know, this
So
is a school. This is a school program, so we will limit the wine conversation. I love that you guys are celebrating. That's absolutely fantastic. But it's not. But I love that you're able to come down and see your family in San Diego and get out of the. Well, you're going from like one different cool temperature to another different cool temperatures.
Yeah, this morning it said it was 46 in Big Bear on the
Okay.
my phone thing. But yesterday it was really nice. The guys are building me a she shed.
Okay.
So the sides are up. I'm thinking maybe the foundation or whatever they call it is up. I think they were trying to put the siding on yesterday and then a roof.
Okay.
So I'm pretty excited about that. I didn't think I'd ever get excited about a she shed.
Too funny, too funny. So, as you know, Mary, you know, the Desert Sands Educational Foundation, they provide this format for us to go ahead and go on and highlight some of our great staff, highlight some of our great community partners, and we've got quite the group that's going to join us this morning. But before we go into that, I want to share. You had been talking and asking about it a little bit. I want to share a little bit about our DSUSD moving forward plan for our instructional model framework for the return to school. And I'm going to put up the link in our comments here, so if people want to check it out themselves, they can do the same. They can do that later on. But that's actually went to private comments. I need to put it in the comments, the chat here, so people can look at this. But Mary, you had asked about this last week and so forth. This is the framework that's moving forward. These are all the different, this is the timeline basically from June of what we've done since. And we actually have the timeline on the website that actually talks about from March on, if you dig a little bit deeper on the website. But I'm happy to share that Desert Sands has surveyed our families multiple times. In the most recent survey, they had 2,600 participants. You know, we have just under 30,000 students. So that's a good chunk of change of the amount of people there.
Oh, wow.
It talks about, you know, the participants there. Like I said, I'm not going to go into great detail about this, but I just want to make sure that people are aware that this is available. I just posted the link and they can take a look at all this information. And we held a thought exchange. It was pretty cool. I think I shared about this last week, but we held a thought exchange where we had 500 live viewers all at once.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good.
You and I are lucky. We get if we get a dozen live viewers, we're excited. But we had 500 live viewers. During the thought exchange, they're able to write and type out their actual thoughts and comments. And these are the common words that came, the themes that came out there. And the ones that are larger are the ones that came up more often in the comments. And I'll say that through the thought exchange, we had the 2,600 people participate. Over 10,000 thoughts were recorded.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, exactly. So people are really invested in wanting to know what's going on and so forth with moving forward. There's learning requirements with the new Senate Bill 98. There's information about that on our website. And then there's also, which is really cool, I actually shared this with one of the foundation boards that I serve on for Old Town Artisan Studio. It has samples of what distance learning may look like. Each of the schools, you know, they're going to be able to tweak it in their own way to fit their clientele. But it does have samples of what it may look like. This isn't a definitive, but it's just samples. But you could click on the link too. I know you want to know about your own granddaughter, what she's going to be doing. Maybe they have something very similar in regards to Ego schools and so forth, which I'm sure they do.
Yeah, I think they're going to have a meeting this week of some sort.
Oh, I'm sure, definitely. You know, and the beautiful thing is we've had Horizon Summit and Desert Sands where we've offered homeschool and independent study from, you know, as long as I've been in the school district. So it's been great that, you know, this is obviously a transition and paradigm shift in education and so forth, but we're lucky to have had two programs that have been very established. But there's our overall timeline. So anybody that doesn't know, we go back to school on the 19th. It's going to be virtual to start. And then basically there, we're going to be waiting on public health decision there. And you can see on the timeline there, our goal is to, you know, hopefully have hybrid learning. It all depends on public health guidelines by Labor Day. We'll see what happens. I know Palm Springs Unified, they actually start less than a month away, and they're going to start with distance learning, and that's their goal also. Yeah.
Sean, explain to me what is hybrid learning?
You know, I'm glad you just asked that. It's on the slide here. It's a blended learning where it combines on campus and virtual. So that could potentially be something where, just say Maddie was in a class of 30 students. So what grade is she going into, Mary?
Fifth.
Fifth grade. So potentially she's going to go a couple of days, and some of her other classmates are going to go a couple of days. It will never be full class in the classroom together.
Okay.
So, yeah, so those are, the great question. Thank you for asking. I know that a lot of people will have those questions, and like I said, that link is there, and I'm going to make sure to publicize this more and more, that we have that available. But yeah, that's pretty important information about the school year and so forth. And I know a lot of people have been interested in wanting to know more about it, so I wanted to make sure to share that.
Yeah, I think from what I've seen on the news, it's pretty diversified depending on county to city to state.
Right.
Even within the districts in the one particular counties, they're all sort of allowing them to sort of make their own plan that works for them.
Yeah, and you know what? We're still. I feel that things are changing week by week, heck, day by day. So who knows what's going to happen in a couple weeks from now? But we just have to keep positive and keep moving forward, right?
Yeah, I mean, because things are changing like daily with everything. So you just kind of be flexible. What you're going to do, if you can do it, if you're going to be out and about, who's going to be open. So, I mean, I think we're kind of getting used to that. It's like the little roller coaster.
Oh, definitely. And then, I'll end on this, and I'll bring our guests on. At the beginning of this, on March 13th, we found out about school closure at about 4:30 in the afternoon, that we're not going back. And Mr. Bailey, our superintendent, lives in South Palm Desert, and he came home one of the days after school, and he's got neighborhood kids that knows him and so forth, and knows what he does. And it was pretty awesome. I get chills thinking about it. Kids took chalk and put on his driveway, #DSUSD, we got this. And like I said, I get chills thinking about it. It was kind of cool that elementary students knew that, this is a tough time for everybody, and that they made sure to let that the top person in our school district know that we got this and we're able to accomplish this, and we are going to move forward with this. Most definitely.
Well, I think it's interesting. I was listening to a talk show yesterday, and most of the time you don't see kids out during the daytime because they're in school. And apparently, this one neighborhood, he said that they looked outside, and he said, "Oh my gosh, where'd all these kids come from? They're all on bicycles and riding around." And he said he had no idea how many children were in his neighborhood. Yeah. And then he went on to say they were all riding bicycles, and then his son wanted a bicycle, and they couldn't find a 26-inch bicycle for sale anywhere. Apparently, there's a big shortage of these bicycles, and he mentioned something to a neighbor. The neighbor happened to have one in the garage that hadn't been used for a long time. And
no.
Off they went. He said there were kids everywhere.
Another example of the community doing great things. And I want to push on here to say that, the foundation, our mission is to work with community partners to enhance the education in the classroom. And beautiful thing today, we've got a bunch of community partners on with us, and I'm going to start bringing them on screen with us so we can talk with them and see what they're doing during this time period. We've got quite the cast of crew here. We've got so many here. I'm going to call on Square by Square, and maybe if you could just introduce yourself and let us know how are you associated with this group. We've got a combination of DSUSD staff. We got some former staff, and we got some community partners. Just introduce and tell us what you do and so forth. So we'll start off with right next to Chef Mary, Mr. Brian Murphy. How you doing, sir?
Good morning. How are you, Sean? Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Why don't you introduce yourself and share how you're associated with Desert Sands and the foundation and Desert Sands School District?
Well, I'm the owner of Jimmy John's sandwich shops here in the desert, one in La Quinta, one over in Palm Desert. And you and I became acquaintances a little over a year ago. And I have been lucky enough to be able to contribute in different ways to your foundation and the school district and the sports teams, and providing lunches and traveling lunch boxes for the squads. But we pride ourselves in anything we can do to help the community. So we're humbled to be a part of your team.
Well, I got to say thank you, Brian, for everything that you've done with Desert Sands ever since we met. Geez, I want to say about a little bit more than almost 2 years ago. You've been very involved with everything from when we held our first job fair. Chef Mary, you appreciate this. We held a job fair at La Quinta High School in the fall, and Brian was the first one to sign on. And they actually hired some students from that job fair at La Quinta High School. So that's pretty awesome.
Thank you.
Yes, that's been a great connection, and we'd love to continue to keep hiring. So keep sending them, Chef Mary.
I think Mary still has a connection with these guys. What, you're only this will be your third year removed, Mary?
Yeah, it's been like actually this month, our last month, June, was my 3rd year of retirement.
Okay.
Chef Felicia is in there, and she's just a real go-getter hot dog kind of a gal. So she'll be your go-to person. And I'm sure she's got students she'd love to have working.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, now virtually working, huh?
And along the lines with Chef Felicia, she's actually going to join us Tuesday, Mary. We're going to talk about her incredible talents and everything. So we'll get to speak with her. But we're going to skip right down the screen, and joining us, he's been part of all of the events that I've ever been part of, either through the American Cancer Society, or if it's either Black Hawk Showdowns, or helping teach our front of the house staff, back of the house staff. We've got Biff Christmas. How you doing, Biff?
I'm doing well, everybody. Thanks, Sean, for having me again. Mary, great to see you. Great to see everybody. Of course, my name is Biff Christmas. I'm the general manager of Mitch's on El Paseo. But previously, I was at La Quinta Cliff House, but most importantly, I'm a former La Quinta High School dad. And my 21-year-old is getting ready to finish up college this fall. And hopefully she's doing that here in the desert because it'll all be online. So anyway, it's glad to be here this morning, and great to see everybody.
Hey, Biff, thank you for joining us. I want to say, Mary, Biff was maybe both Biff and Reese were probably on our second show that we hosted a couple of months back.
Yeah, by popular demand.
They're back by popular demand. I'll tell you guys, and we'll go up to Reese next year. But Reese, I'll tell you, I asked Mary off on the phone on Tuesday, say, okay, who do we want to bring on for this next show? It's our 20th. She said, well, Biff, Reese, and then she gave me up a bunch of other names, but you guys are the top two. So Reese,
wow.
Why don't you introduce yourself? Reese, I think you might be muted.
Okay, there. Am I on?
Yep, there you go.
Okay. Morning. My name is Reese Murakami. I'm the chef de cuisine at Sandfish Sushi and Whiskey in Palm Springs. And I've known these two for quite a while. I met Sean first when he came and dangled the idea of competition in front of me when I was working as a sushi chef at Kobe. So that's how I got involved with the Black Hawk Showdown program. And then after that, me and Mary are friends. So, it's something that's carried on throughout the years, and I've always enjoyed community service. So I think it's important. But yeah, if it wasn't for Mary, I don't know that I would have done so many of those. Our friendship's, really important to me. So I'm glad that, we met during that way.
Yes, me as well.
Yeah.
Reese, thank you for the many times that you've worked with the students in Desert Sands over the years. I remember one of the first events where you invited some kids into the kitchen where you were working at the time. And I want to say it was a Catalan restaurant. And you guys did a suckling pig. And I was like, I can't believe that, here we are. I think there were freshmen that you worked with, and they were making a suckling pig, and this amazing meal came out. And then these kids had 100% to do with it. And thank you for giving those opportunities for them.
Kids deserve a shot, and they're good kids. So the kids that come out of that program are way ahead of, what I would have been at their age and all of that. So it's good. You got to give them exposure. If they don't have the exposure, they'll never really know. So you just got to give them a shot, whether they continue with it or not. Sometimes it's good just to see. So thank you guys for that too.
No, thank you. Thank you very much. And we'll get back to you with some other questions here. I want to go right to your right. We've got Sandy Hersey. How you doing, Sandy?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
I'm excellent. So Sandy, I'll share, Mary, if you remember, she was actually on our very first episode back when this started. And if you remember, we were on the Zoom format. Sandy, if you remember this, we couldn't actually get online.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so we just did the whole thing. We recorded it on Zoom and then we posted it to YouTube afterwards. And although it was fun and exciting, it just didn't have that punch of being a live video. So thank you again for joining us, Sandy. Why don't you introduce how you are a part of this group and so forth?
Well, it's a very special group, and I came on board. They created a position for an assistant for you, Sean. You were acting at that point. You were one of the assistant principals for the CTE program. And I came on board to help with the programs. And it's probably one of the most rewarding jobs that I've ever had. I really, most of the time, didn't even look at it as a job, but just a passion. And it was great. And I've got lifetime friends that came out of that.
Yeah, I'll say that, I love it all the time when you just shoot me a text from every now and then. Hey, how are the girls doing? And for everybody in the squares here, when she says the girls, she's referencing Tara, Brooklyn, as well as my dog Piper. So I agree completely. With this group here, this core group, we've developed a good family amongst everybody with our relationships and so forth. So thank you for being part of it.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go over to the other side here of Reese. And guys, you see that where Ashley is? That looks like a fun time right there, Ashley. Why don't you share what's going on there, Dr. Shantz?
Hello, I'm Ashley Shantz. I'm the counseling lead at La Quinta High School, and I am currently on vacation with my family in Catalina. Every summer for a week, my girls and I go with my parents and spend a week on the boat. And so here I am. And with all the new technology, through all the school shutdowns, I can kind of work from anywhere or connect from anywhere. So this is definitely the best office I think I've ever had.
Hey, do us a favor. I know that you love to fish, and I know everybody in this group would definitely partake. Catch something huge, bring it to Reese. And Reese, can you do it up nice for us? And we'll social distance. We'll just pick it up in packages from you.
Yes.
I didn't hear a no, so Ashley, go.
I'm on it.
Maybe we could sit on their patio and do distance eating.
Distance eating, yeah.
Or the parking lot.
But I do have to say, as far as this group of people goes, the way I was connected with everybody was through the culinary arts program, because years ago I was the CTE counselor. So I got to work. I was recruited by Sean Webb to do that. And so I met all you wonderful people. And then Biff, I was his daughter's counselor, and I think the world of her. So it was really nice to be asked to be in this discussion with everybody. And it's nice to see everybody. And now I still, Sean still has me working for him now that he works at the district office.
Actually, we love volunteer help.
That's
Thank
like
you.
Everybody else on this screen.
You guys are all part of my family. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. Yeah, even after Sandy retired from the school district, she even came back and helped with CAMFest this year too. So thank you for that too, Sandy. But I want to share with all of you, this is Brian's first time joining us. Each of you have been on at least once. And Mary, we got a call the other day after I talked to the district communications team. And as I shared, when we're on the Desert Sands Educational Foundation's platform, what I mean by platform, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube and Facebook right now. We have about 850 followers. And our videos have been translating into about 300 views to 1,000 views, which is pretty awesome. Well, the requests have come in that they want our information more to go out. So I'm excited to share. Mary and I are taking this to a larger platform, and will now be on the Desert Sands Unified School District social media in addition to this platform. So with that being said, Mary, when we're on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9 o'clock in the morning, we have the ability now to be in front of 10,000 people at once.
Oh my
So,
God,
yeah, that's pretty exciting. So Mary, thank you for all the help with this. This is our 20th episode. And like I said, for our 20th episode, we wanted to make sure we had this fun group of people with us.
our little core. It's been incredible how we all just started interfacing with each other. And the fact that for me at the school, I could depend on Sandy and Biff and Reese and Ashley and to come down and hop in and do things. Or I loved our morning coffee, Ashley, when you guys came down with Veronica. That was always a special time to really see the students through your eyes, because I only saw them as the culinary students, and to kind of understand, where they're coming from, how we could work together. And then with Sandy, we always kind of knew who was not having the best day, and she would come down and say, "Oh, have you seen so and so today? Yeah, I'm kind of worried about them." And then Biff came in and showed them how to expedite an event, which was really great. And then Reese just came in with just a multitude of information and education and skills that far beyond anything I could even understand, but it was just fun. And they just had such a great respect for him. So, and of course, Brian, we never had a chance to really meet you. I was probably gone when you kind of surfaced, but we're all big car buffs, even though I've been car auctions and buy cars, and Sandy drove cars. And so we still have that little connection there of some sort of an interest. So I'll be looking for a car.
So Ashley kind of started and Mary kind of built on it. We're talking about how life has changed since the 13th. We can kind of work virtually wherever and so forth. Now, I want to ask our community partners, how has life changed for you guys in this process? We started off with Brian. We'll go to Brian again. How has things changed since March 13th? And I started March 13th because that was Friday the 13th when we found out we didn't have school anymore. So how has life changed at Jimmy John since March 13th?
Yeah. It's changed a lot, and on the other hand, it really hasn't changed because we've never been closed. We've had different hours. We've had, of course, social distancing. We've had to disinfect. We got all the employees in masks. But we have, a unique situation. And I'm an optimist, so it's very hard to get me down. I take the situation as it is and do the best with what I can control. And we control taking care of our employees, making sure they're safe. And we take care of our clients and make sure they're safe. So our hours have changed. We close a little bit earlier because a lot of people are staying home. But really, we have focused on the safety aspect of keeping our clients safe. So there's a lot of glove changing and a lot of masks and a lot of sanitizing. We went through the dine-in area closed and then it opened and now we're closed again. But luckily we have our own delivery drivers. So we've seen a real spike in that where people want their food at home. And I think they understand how careful we are with their food. But mostly what's changed, I think it gave us a chance to really step back and focus on the community. And really what helps us is focusing on another human being. And what I mean by that is there's always someone in my mind that has it worse than I do. Mm-hmm. So we started looking out and partnering with different people that helped us raise some money. And we were able to feed all the hospitals out here. We've been able to feed the police departments, the fire departments, the elderly, and we don't look for recognition for doing that. We just kind of like to, take food out and surprise people and try to make their lives a little bit better. So as bad as it is to be in the restaurant business right now, I think there's always a way to contribute and make someone else's life better. So that's really what we focus on beyond the safety of our clients and employees.
No, I'll have to say that I've seen Jimmy John sandwiches being advertised all over the place of like people accepting them at Eisenhower, JFK, over at the fire chiefs, the fire departments and so forth. So, we have a very giving community. I love that people are utilizing your services. And I know that, and I'm going to say this out loud and forgive me for saying this, Brian, I know you're not charging them full price and you're giving them a great deal so that they can, benefit them and so forth. So thank you for all that you're doing and helping our first responders. And, there are superheroes and you're one of our superheroes too. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Hey, Reese, what's going on over at Sandfish and so forth? How have things changed there and how have things changed for you since it started?
Well, there's been quite a bit of change. We went from having a full dining room all the time, and for us, we're a small restaurant, and we're privately owned, so we run the numbers and we run the scenarios assuming that we're going to be that full, especially since we'd had such a good, first couple of years when we started. So there's been quite a bit of stress, you know, and we've had to kind of rethink things and, you know, pivot towards this to-go model more than anything because our patio is really small. The first thing that we wanted to do is we wanted to make sure that we try and take care of, you know, our own as much as we could. So when the staff got furloughed and, you know, people were, you know, without work and everything, that I think was the most, you know, worrisome thing at first. The sanitizing and stuff, I think for people who don't work in the restaurant industry, you don't realize how much that stuff actually goes on. So there hasn't been too much of a procedural change because we've already been pretty good with food storage and sanitation and all of that. It's just been more of a human thing, you know, trying to make sure that our employees stay safe while they're working, you know, as we're classified as somewhat essential, between the staff to make sure that there's, you know, we try and not spread anything between the staff. So it's been more the human aspect more than anything else, you know, trying to be compassionate, empathetic towards people and making sure that, you know, we remember why we did it in the beginning. It's a rough patch, but all businesses go through rough patches, you know, and we have to be able to adapt or we'll never be able to, you know, to survive. So we can't feel sorry for ourselves too much. You know, there was some time in the beginning where it really hurt or whatever, but you need to pick yourself up and keep going because otherwise, you know, we just won't survive. We're too small to, you know, really take too prolonged of a hit. So you got to be proactive. You need to be positive. You need to be creative in the sense that you need to figure out what you can do to keep yourself going and keep yourself surviving, not only for your job, but for the job of all of your staff, because you want people to come back. People depend on the work, you know?
Of course. No, definitely. And I think about like with sushi and so forth, it's got to be tough to eat outside right now when it's 115 degrees on your guys' patio.
Yes. I will give it to the people though. The people have been braving it. So, you know, I mean, we really appreciate that. And I know it's uncomfortable for them and everything, but for us, we just take it as a huge sign of support that they're willing to go through that and do that to come and eat the food, you know? So we really appreciate that part of it too.
Of course, definitely. So we've talked to Jimmy John's. We got like more of a sandwich shop. We've talked to a sushi place. Now let's talk to fine dining. Biff, what's going on with Mitch's and everything in your changes and so forth since the 13th?
Well, it's been quite a little roll, you know, back and forth with the opening and then closing again, and then now just doing patio dining. And unfortunately, you know, we're getting to that time of year where it's just too hot to eat outside. And, you know, we are shocked with how many people come out and eat in 100 and, you know, 18, 119 degrees that we had last weekend. We did, you know, 170 covers, and you know, we had people dining at 5 o'clock, you know, and still in the heat of the day. So we were kind of shocked by that. But we also know that, you know, 4th of July is over, and normally we'd be closed. And so we're going to finish up this week, and then we'll reopen October 1st. And you know, we stayed open mainly for our staff and for the people that weren't on unemployment, and so it was beneficial for everybody. And but you know, we've got a great, you know, base there at Mitch's, and he's now, you know, in his 8th year and doing really well. This was definitely something that you could never, you know, see. And a lot of people, you know, we really feel for the people that are out there that are struggling because, you know, I was in a position where I almost opened a restaurant last fall.
I remember us.
I pretty much wake up every morning and thank, you know, the Lord that I didn't do it because, you know, I know some people that did open last year, and I talk to them often, and I try and encourage them any way I can because I know they're going through some really tough times.
Yeah.
And, you know, fortunately with Mitch's, you know, they've got the wherewithal behind them because they've been so successful that he's going to be able to ride this storm. And but it just changes so much. And of course, you know, we had already done the social distancing before March 13th. We were being proactive. And as Reese said, you know, we already keep the place, you know, immaculately clean like they do there. And so we didn't have to change a lot, but we did, you know, distance tables and whatnot. So it was easy for us to open back up, and kind of disheartening to all of a sudden get closed back down again and go back to just doing carry out and dining outside. You know, of course, if we were in San Diego or somewhere else, dining outside would be a great option, but because we've got a huge patio, but the heat's just not going to, you know, go away for the next couple months. So.
And then I know that over the years, your wife worked with La Quinta High School and the foundation many times in volunteering and so forth. And I know that she works in fine dining. Maybe you could share a little bit about what her restaurant is doing. I know that they're a larger corporation. What is the larger corporation fine dining doing?
Well, it's funny. They opened back up, and they had just been doing carry out while everyone was closed down, but they opened back up. And of course, that only lasted maybe a few weeks before they got closed back down again. And I think, there's some of these big corporations that are out there that you're liable to see some of these start to crack because, our margins aren't that, that good.
Right.
And so
Right.
when you look at a huge corporation or even, some of these hotels, I don't know how they can carry that load for this amount of time and not be, worried about, going under. And, they're going to be, when this is all said and done, I think we could see a different landscape in restaurants around the desert, around the state, and around the country.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Most definitely. Yep. So we definitely have the whole hospitality portion kind of covered now. We talked about restaurants. Now, Sandy, maybe you could tell us a little bit about what's going on with real estate and changes that you've made since the infamous Friday the 13th.
It's kind of interesting because you would think that with everything being shut down and the fear behind what's going on and concern and that type of thing, that the last thing people would want to do is to buy a house. But we have been busier in the last 4 months than we have been historically for many, many years during these months. So real estate, it's kind of interesting because we're hearing people want to get out of the big city. They're coming from LA. They want to be, in a much quieter environment where there's not so much commotion going on. The other thing is, I think some people are actually liking the more quiet, the more isolation. Whereas on the other end, there's a lot of people that are struggling with that. But real estate wise, it's just been extremely busy.
Because I think about, about a month and a half ago, Twitter made that huge announcement. And I know that's commercial real estate. It's not, it's not personal real estate and so forth, but commercial real estate, when Twitter made the announcement, when their CEO said, we may never ask our employees to come back to the office. That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
A corporation like Twitter.
Yeah, they talk about, buying houses virtually. I think that's a temporary thing. I think people need to see and feel and touch, and it's pretty easy with the what we have technology wise to buy without ever going to that property. But that's short lived because people do want to feel, what they're purchasing when it comes to real estate.
Of course, definitely. And,
Sandy,
go ahead, Mary.
In reference to what you were saying, we're seeing the same thing in Big Bear. Three of my neighbor and then my other realtor and a friend that's a realtor actually in Palm Springs. They're busier than ever, they said. People are doing the virtual tours. They're coming up and, visiting. Escrows are closing in 30 to 45 days without any complications. Mm-hmm. And a lot of cash buyers. The market is staying pretty strong in spite of, the restrictions that everybody else seems to be dealing with.
Yeah, it's really an interesting time right now.
Yeah, well, it's definitely an interesting time. And, everybody's been talking about over the course of the 20 episodes that we had, Mary, people have been talking about their talents and what they do and so forth. And people have talked about things that they've done to better themselves. Is there anyone in this group that maybe want to share about what they've done to help better themselves in the last 10 weeks, 15 weeks or so forth since being at home? I could definitely share the better myself. I'm taking part in everyday reading with Brooklyn, and I love doing it.
Cool.
And I know that some of you guys see it on Facebook and so forth. And I'll tell you, and this is not a plug to get more books, but I don't want to repeat myself reading the same books over and over again online. I don't want to do that. But no, that to better myself, I make sure to read, and then I'm hiking. I'm hiking 4 times a week to kind of better my health and so forth.
Yeah, that 6 a.m. hike this morning.
5 a.m.
I saw your 6 a.m. hike. That's pretty impressive.
I left by
Sean.
I
5
get up
a.m.,
at
wow.
5 to be on the hill by 5:30, and I always run into one of our friends, Biff. Mare Evans is always out there in the morning. She actually beats me there. I'm seeing as she ends her hike.
Yeah.
As I start, so I thought I started early.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember when she was running, and I was trying to do a fundraiser for her or help her with a fundraiser. And I would send her an email when I got home from work at 11 in the morning, and she'd respond to it at 4 a.m. And I was like, oh my gosh, I mean, she had emailed me at about 10:30 and was back up at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. Anybody else doing something different, maybe to recraft themselves, or maybe they're thinking of a business idea, or another thing that I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and take up tennis again. Yeah, so I ordered a tennis racket. I'm trying to get in shape so I can do that. So we'll see.
Right.
I've been honing in on my baking skill. For 4th of July, I decided to make 4th of July cookies for everyone and realized that my skills are being away from school for 3 years and then actually working this current summer at Snow Summit. I started making these cookies, and then it was just a disaster. I thought, oh my gosh, this is not working. Then I brought them all over and then forgot that putting them in the heat of the car isn't a good idea either. And then they all stuck together. So I have to rethink that skill.
Okay, I got you. Well, you know what? We are coming up on almost 40 minutes here. I do want to give you guys each one last opportunity to give a message to families and people that are watching, as well as message to people that you haven't seen in a while. We'll go ahead and start off with Sandy. Is there any message that you'd like to say to anybody who's watching, or message to maybe some students that used to work with at La Quinta High School or in Desert Sands?
Oh, just, to keep the positive attitude and know that this is just a hiccup in life. Life has those. And stay focused on virtual hugs, being there for each other, calling somebody that you just have a feeling that might need a friend. But hey, keep being successful and healthy. And I miss you all.
With that being said, I'm going to come up to Dr. Shantz next, but I want to say one of our steady viewers who, I guess if we ever had a super fan, she's one of our super fans. Stephanie Smith is watching. She says, Dr. Shantz and Sandy, love you both. Biff, Reese, and Brian, I'm sorry. I guess Stephanie doesn't love you guys, but just kidding. But she knows these guys very well. But Dr. Shantz, do you have a message to the people that are watching?
I just want to tell everybody, please try to enjoy the last little bits of your summer. I am definitely looking forward to coming back to this hybrid model in the fall and seeing students. The one thing I did learn through all of this, when you were talking about growth, is that I always said how much I'd love to be able to work from home. And after working from home, I really, really am looking forward to getting back to the job site and being around the kids. So I'm soaking up my vacation time with my family and enjoying it, but I am looking forward to next month and seeing all of you in a little bit different format again.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. We all got in this industry because we're people, and we like to, we like relationships and being around everyone. So I agree with that completely. So thank you. Ashley, maybe while we're going around the other parts of the squares and meeting with everybody else and having them share their messages, maybe you could give us a little view of the whole bay. Is that possible?
What?
A view of the bay. What else is going on behind there? Because that's what Avalon where you're at, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you want to see it?
This? Oh, I am so jealous. I don't know about you guys. I am thoroughly jealous. Jealous.
It's nice to wake up and be able to sit outside.
We can do that if we get up at 5, right, guys? Okay. Why don't we go to let's Biff, a message to the people watching?
Well, I just want to take a second just to say how great it is to see everybody, and hats off to Jimmy John's and all that they do for the community. It reminds us of what a great area we live in, and no wonder the real estate market's busy here, because that everything I went through with you all and everybody on the screen, that I've known for years from La Quinta High School, it's really heartwarming to see a community come together the way the community does here. And, it makes you realize how important the kids are. And, let's hope we get them back to school soon. And, because that's what they all need is time to develop in the community. And La Quinta High School does a great job. In fact, all the schools here in the Valley really are it's just a great community to raise a family.
Mary, you can even say that from the time that we worked together at La Quinta, you got exposed to many of the different school sites because they hired you guys to work at the school sites. And I'm sure you could definitely put an exclamation point on what Biff just said there. All the school sites are more of a community and they develop great relationships.
Yeah, and it was always nice when we did our showdowns that we had other people from other schools come in and buy tickets, food. We did things for Palm Desert. We did all of the shows with Indio High School, and we did that parent appreciation night with showing all the skills of each different school, and then working with the district and whatever. And the fact that they came and helped us, it was like, hey, we're having this thing, would you show up? Mr. Tomac and Mary Perry and Steve Sanchez and all those guys who would come in and serve food, and Biff's wife Melanie, and then Reese was there, and we always had Ashley and Veronica come down and eat. That was the best part.
Well, Biff, you gave me a good transition there. You talk about our community, and I just want to let people know that if you're interested in serving on the Desert Sands Educational Foundation as a volunteer, or a committee member, potentially a board member, my email address is there. You can definitely send us information on that. Brian, do you have a message to our families and so forth?
Yes, thank you. And thank you for having me, Sean and Chef Mary, and congratulations on taking this vehicle to a whole new level. 10,000 people, that's big. I can't wait to see how much more it grows. But I guess my message would be that not everybody handles stress the same way. And I'm sure all of us encounter people every day that need help or are stressed out or say something they really don't mean. So, if you can find that person during the course of your day and reach out and give them some kind words or help them out somehow, you could really make a difference in someone's life. And I think that's what we need to use this opportunity for. So thanks for having me, and look forward to doing it again.
Brian, thank you. I love that. You've always had the pay it forward attitude with anything that we've ever done together. So thank you for that. That's awesome. Yes. And Chef Reese, some words to our followers and so forth. I purposely ended with you because I know that you're always one of the most insightful people.
Yeah.
Well, I think it just goes back to our basic values, right? So for me, coming from Hawaii, you're kind of inbred with that. So, you live with aloha, be nice to people, be that spirit, that brightens other people's day, that's considerate and empathetic towards your other people. Be pono, which is righteous, live your life righteously. Kukua, or help your brothers and sisters out there. This is not just family, people. And then onipa, practice being steadfast in who you are, no matter what the situation is. Don't change because things seem bleak or whatever out there. Keep that optimism and, just keep going, keep pushing, keep trying to be who you are and share that with other people for the good of others, not just because, you're in the spotlight or whatever. So no matter what the conditions are, be a good person, be who you're going to be, and be proud of that, and I hope that will get people through this tough time and feeling better about themselves and the world as it is. Sometimes we focus too much on the negatives. We have to be that positive light. We have to have that positive attitude to, keep that chain going. So stay positive, be good to others, and, enjoy that.
Reese, you're one of the most down-to-earth people I know that's always been just, happy-go-lucky and very, very positive about everything. So thank you for that. And thank you for being an influence on our students and volunteering and everything that you do for the community. Guys, like I said, we're coming up on 45 minutes here. I want to thank you guys for joining us. Mary and I are going to kind of wrap up here. But, hey, you guys are part of our success of being able to move to the next level. This is our last time on this format. And next time, Tuesday, Mary, we hit the big time on multiple formats. So, guys, thank you for joining us. We'll see you later. Mary, stay on because we're going to still be live here. I'm just going to exit people off screen. All right.
Thank
See
you.
everybody. Everybody take care.
Take care, everybody. Good luck.
All right.
So, Mary, how you doing?
Doing well.
News.
That
Pretty
was
exciting
really great.
news.
I know, it's incredible. You kind of think something that this simple, that was just kind of fun to, fill in our hours has turned into something really nice, really fun to do. It's
I
always
agree.
good.
It's always great. It's great that this is part of my job, right? And the really cool thing is we get to invite some of our friends who've become uh, friends of the foundation, friends of the school
Yeah.
district, friends of ours that have, as Ashley said it, I've kind of employed everybody to kind of do things for us and work for us. But it's great because everybody, come back to Reese. They all talk about community, and that's what it's all about. And that's the old saying: "It takes a village to raise a kid." It's very true, and we've got a great village here.
Yeah, and I think what's kind of fun is like with Reese, you get a chance to know him professionally and then personally. They've come to visit, and the same with Ashley, to know her in her role at school, but then all of a sudden have them come and spend a couple of days and hang out with the girls and have time with Biff. Biff called the other night. We talked a couple hours on the phone, and
Oh my,
it was just
okay.
great. All of a sudden it was 11:30, and I mean, I'm usually in bed at 8. And we just had a great conversation about just a lot of stuff and what's going on. And, we shared, family things, and that's all developed from the beginning of the relationships that we had when we had them as just partners. And now they're friends, deep-rooted friends, and the connections.
Yep, and think about it, the many philanthropic things that we did throughout the years, and maybe
Yeah.
even away from the high school, we still ran into these same people, the movers and shakers, the volunteers, the best people. Biff was at every one of our ACS galas working and
Yeah.
assisting us throughout the years, which was pretty awesome. Yeah, that it's just great to see that. And now that I'm glad that I was able to introduce Brian Murphy to you today. Ever
Yeah,
since I met him, my year at Palm Desert, he's just been the guy, the man. He's just been able to help us out with anything and everything that we need for Desert Sands. Either if it's helping a volleyball team get some meals after a game, or if it's help feed new teachers or the administration or whoever. He's just been great.
I think in general, Sean, I think most people want to have an involvement. And sometimes you just have to ask for it.
Right.
Some people don't necessarily feel free to come and volunteer. But if you ask them for a small favor and then they become involved in it, they see the value of it. They're always there, and if they can't help you, then that's okay too. And then another time they will. And I think we found that with our partners, with like ePals and Glenn from Crown Meats and all of those guys and your gals from the herb companies. I can't remember who they were. Always did something. I mean, it can be something as small as a pan of mashed potatoes. It all adds up.
You're mentioning North Shore Living Herbs. They donated all the different events that we did and so forth. We've had some great partners, and I'm glad you brought up Julie. I'm going to have to ask her to come on and join us. I'm a little bit scared though. Julie used to be on the actual news, and she may upstage us. So we gotta make sure we give her some parameters.
We can't have Bianca or Laura until we have training with them.
Well, I got a surprise for her, and I might as well let it out. I let Bianca know what's going on with us going to a larger format. I emailed her, and she's in such a market and such a job now, and she worked with us for at least 4 years. But with her market and being the lead anchor, the evening anchor for Spectrum LA, she's asked for permission to do these types of things. So she's sent it up the chain. So I'm hoping that she gets to join us maybe sometime next week or the week after. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Maybe we can have an online class with her on how to be.
Well, it's going to be different. We're going to be interviewing her. She's usually the one giving the interview.
Well, it was interesting. Yesterday, I was watching. It was one of the shows where they were doing a similar thing, like you and I are doing. And I thought sometimes, we kind of struggle as to when to get in and when to talk and whatever. But they were doing the same thing. They were kind of, sometimes they talk over each other, and then sometimes they would sit back and wait. Yep. So I don't think there's actually a really solid format to how to make it work. You just have to kind of be able to jump in and do what you want to do.
That's right. And you know what, Mary, I hate to cut us off. I've got about 10 minutes. I actually got to get over to the district office. We're going to be, they're live streaming the summer graduation. They're doing a drive-through right now. And
Oh,
then I
wow.
got a meeting with a couple of your close buddies. I'm going to meet with Mary Perry and Jan Diaz this morning to talk
Oh my gosh.
about our show that we get to go and do starting next week. But I'll be in contact with you over the weekend.
Okay.
You have a great time with your family. Say hello to everybody for me. Give your granddaughter a hug for me, and I will. I'll catch you later. Mary,
Okay.
it's been a
You have a
pleasure.
good weekend.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sign off here and just do a little plug for the foundation, okay? But
Okay.
just so you know, as we shared, Desert Sands Educational Foundation, our mission and vision are to work with community partners to provide educational resources for the classroom. And today we highlighted a lot of our community partners for our 20th episode. And if you're interested, as it says down there, please email me below if you're interested in volunteering and serving for the Desert Sands Educational Foundation. We'll see you later. Chef Mary, be well. I can't wait to talk to you this weekend to plan for this next week. We'll
I'll
talk to you
see
later.
you. Bye.